Radio with your hosts, John Vail and Tanner West.
Alright, welcome to World Extermination Radio. We're your hosts, John Vail, Tanner West.
Yep.
And we're here with a very, very, very special guest with us, Tom Hall.
Hello.
Alright, well, before we get started, I just want, for starters, I wanted to make a public and formal apology. Tom, when I asked you to do this interview, I intended to set it up with Tango TV. And I showed you the Tango TV website, but I wasn't intending to declare it as my own. However, I may have misinformed you, as I had mistakenly considered myself to be part of Tango TV. But when I brought this interview up to the rest of the community, I did so after I had already gotten your okay. The staff of Tango TV informed me that I am not a member, and that it was arrogant of me to use their name without notifying them first. So I was asked to make you aware that I'm not affiliated with the Tango TV name, and that this interview is like a separate thing, and like World Extermination Radio is like its own independent thing.
Okay.
So Tom, I ask you, do you accept these terms and conditions?
Oh, sure.
All right, cool. Make sure that you check the box that says I agree, and make sure you scroll all the way down to indicate that you read it.
All right. And you have to make sure that you sit in contemplation for hours at how bad you feel that you're not part of Tango TV.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So Tom, we're Facebook friends, and as you know, that basically means that you gave me permission to look at all of your photos, whether you like it or not.
Cool.
So Tom, I asked you, do you have any kids, or like nieces or nephews or anything?
Yeah, I have both. I have two stepkids, Christopher and Mindy, and they're in Austin right now, and just wrapping up college era and stuff like that. And then I have tons of nieces and nephews. One of them was a sportscaster in Michigan, and now he works as a rep for the Special Olympics and stuff. And yeah, there's five of them. Aaron, Bethany, David, Crystal, and Ryan, and then all their spouses and things.
Okay. Are you showing them the right path of all the good games, you know?
Yeah. Actually,
Super Mario, Sonic.
Actually, my nephew Aaron has a better game room representation of the games I made than I do.
Oh, yeah?
And he's like, nice big poster of Doom, and signed this, and I was like, oh, I should probably do that someday.
Gotta make him a doomer. That's necessary.
Do any of them play Commander Keen?
Actually, the one person that plays Commander Keen the most, they all played it, but the one that plays it the most is my mom.
Oh, yeah?
Nice.
She'll go back and play it, and it's like, she's like in her 80s, and she's like, well, I just thought I'd play, episode 1 again, or something.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I always try to get my mom to play the games that I've worked on, but
She tells you to fuck off.
yeah, basically.
She's a bigger fan of the goofier, silly ones. She's not like, big Doomhead or anything like that.
Yeah, right. That's funny. There's actually a person on Doomworld that she made a thread introducing herself. She's like an 80-year-old Doom player.
Nice.
And, yeah. I was really surprised to hear that, because most of us are like in our 20s and 30s.
Yeah. Yeah, my career has been sort of a interesting conversation after conversation. It's like, oh, I played Commander Keen when I was a kid. Oh, that's cool. I played Wolfenstein when I was a kid. Oh, that's cool. I played Doom when I was a kid. And now it's starting, oh, my dad played Doom and Commander. Oh.
Feeling the old age.
Yeah, well, it's funny how it doesn't stop like that. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I kind of know how that feels. But yeah, let's get started talking about Doom, because a lot of people, especially on the Doom World community, the conversation comes up a lot. Doom has a pretty specific storyline, according to you, at least according to the Doom Bible. And when you actually play the game, it's not very clear what the story is.
Right.
There's, like, in between episodes, you get like a short text interlude that tells you what's going on. And other than that, it's pretty much just mindless killing and searching for keys and getting to the exit.
Yep.
So just to be clear, I want to make sure we're on the same page. I'm just going to go over what I think, with the general consensus of what the Doom story is. We have the Union Aerospace Corporation, UAC.
Yeah, which was originally the United Aerospace Corporation.
Oh, did I? I could have gotten that wrong. I don't even know.
No. It got changed after I left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Originally, there was UAC, and there were two UAC logos. I'll have to, if I could find where the other one is. I don't know. Maybe it's in the actual graphic somewhere. But there was one that was the one that you guys know, and then later. You sort of see the military arm of the United Aerospace Corporation, and it's like the same kind of logo, except the little starship that goes between two planets is above the one planet, and there's little, like, dot bombs dropping on the other planet. So it's just the evil version of the UAC logo. And
do you have, like, a drawing of that somewhere, or?
Oh, man. I would have... You just don't know the boxes. Like, we moved from Austin to here and to, like, half the size of house, so, like, difficult to unpack things. You know, they're just stacked and stacked. But
well, I mean, like, do you remember what it looks like? Could you, like, sketch it out real quick?
It's just sort of like that little triangle representational starship above a planet with little dot bombs going down on the planet. Yeah, sort of nuking it from space or whatever they had to do. Basically, I mean, going over the original storyline, it's basically there was some scientific researchers discovered sort of anomalies on the one of the poles of a moon, and it was originally Titanga, not Mars moons and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And then they were kind of experimenting with it, and they actually kind of pierced a little bit of a hole into it, and this sort of like fire dust came out or something like that. I forget what they call it, but basically, yeah, they were just kind of like, oh, this is really interesting, you know, and they saw it kind of like could open up the gap a little bit wider and see like some weird stuff in there, and they thought, you know, it was like some opening to like some alien place or something like that. And then the United Aerospace Corporation found out about it, and they just sort of like took it over, like, you know, like a government would take it over, like this is, you know, like of government interest now.
Oh, okay.
But it's a corporation because that's sort of where future governments will probably be going. So they just, like, you know, shut down the scientists and did their own experiments, but they, you know, the scientists warned them, you know, like, just watch out, you know, this is, you know, we don't know what's in there and stuff like that, and they just opened the hole really wide.
It just got really pushy.
And then they saw, like, oh, there's aliens here, you know. It was still, like, thought, you know, like, this is some cool aliens, you know, and they'll come out, and then they were just, like, you know, obviously violent, and killed somebody or something like that, but that corporation, you know, just thought, you know, we know what's best, and they just sort of opened a gate to hell, and they didn't realize it. And then it goes from there. So the thing tears open, and the original story was it's sort of like 4 characters are there playing cards, you know, and you have, you know, sort of like Alien, the original Alien, you know, they're all just kind of and then all of a sudden, imagine they're in that kind of room around the table in Alien, and then the door opens and just a demon pours in there and just rips up everybody.
Nice.
That's awesome. I remember seeing some of the alpha versions showing that particular scene. That scene really sticks out to me because I've edited with the alpha versions before, and you can actually see the textures in there where you can see the cards on the table. And
so the idea was that since it was going to be a multiplayer game, you would have 1 to 4 players. So basically, the demon comes in and tears apart whoever isn't playing. So if you have 1 player, there's 3 dead people. If you had 4 players, then you just kill them and stuff like that. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of just that. But the idea is that just that little bit of story at the start and a little bit at the end. There was a more involved story when it was we were supposed to be making one big world, so that was like more of an adventure kind of violent thing. Like
did you intend for like the levels to be did you expect for levels to have like multiple exits? You can go to different places, or was it like one linear path like Doom is now?
The one big world design was multiple paths. I designed out like a whole base sort of in a crater on Titanga, and you had to go to various buildings, and some would unlock and other stuff. And what Carmack was saying was just there'd just be these sort of airlocks between the places, but then it would seamlessly go between them.
Oh, okay.
Basically how Doom 3 was.
Sort of, yeah. Talking about Doom 3, it's that was a really exciting first 30 minutes. Like I thought, oh my gosh, they actually did, the sort of like original thing I was thinking about Doom, because they had like rolling chairs and like, oh, you can roll these chairs into lasers and block them while you're fast and stuff like that. And basically, nope, just the first room had some boxes you could topple over, and there were rolling chairs, but they didn't do anything, and it was like, oh, it's just a tech demo, so.
Yeah, and then the rest of the game is you walk into a dark room, shine your flashlight, and then kill whatever you see.
Yeah, basically, I was excited in the first 30 minutes. It was, it was intense, but then it just, became monster closets, and
yeah.
I wish it, had continued on its potential.
Was there anything else in the game that stuck out to you, or was it just that first 30 minutes?
I don't remember the name of the thing, but it was really, I could see all the guys' influence. Was it Super Turkey Venture or whatever that was in the...
Oh, okay.
Cave Machine was hilarious and stuff like that. But some of the set pieces were cool and stuff like that, but it's sort of like, it was a great, intense first 30 minutes, and then they're a small team, so they had to keep iterating or keep repeating the same kind of stuff, because it looks gorgeous and amazing and stuff like that, and technology.
I don't want it to be too short.
Yeah, of course, it's brilliant, but it's just like, if you have that small a team, you can't keep constantly adding new game elements or
right.
Go on. So you just have to we got these in there, pretty cool, and then But brilliant technology, and that first 30 minutes was just, I really loved it. Yeah.
I'm not really one to talk about Doom 3, because most of the game's kind of a blur to me.
Blur to me. Yeah, I seem to recall, after a while, I put on God mode and just kind of went through the rest of it to see what happened. But
yeah,
it was kind of fun to go outside, but it's so limited. It's the
outdoor areas are really small.
Yeah, and that, the potential for that was so awesome, and I talked to one of the programmers later, and he says, there's potential, you can have really big outside areas. You made this, this sort of test map that would, it took you 2 minutes to walk from one end to the other out, playing. So obviously that was, they had the potential.
Technology was there.
Yeah, it just didn't. So.
Wow. Yeah, I've seen, there's actually custom Doom 3 levels. I've only seen screenshots on the internet, but some of them have really, really big areas, and you would think Doom 3 would have taken advantage of that, but it's not very clear that they did.
Which they should.
Most of Doom 1 is taking place indoors. Did you want to have a lot of outdoor areas in that too?
At the time we were making it, the sort of that grassy area outside the first room is about, the extent we could have, as far as the technology back then. But
yeah. Did you have a vision for it though? Did you think of?
I was designing to the technology, what does it do best, and so it was just sort of.
Okay.
that's why I kept it in kind of a crater, and it had even the original Seamless one was in a crater with, sort of all the buildings filling it out, so there were just, there was decent amounts of outside, but not about the same as Doom 2 had.
Okay. Actually kind of ties into one of the questions a friend of mine sent me. This is a question from Natural 20. He's actually working on a level that he called Tom's Halls.
Nice.
He's worked on a lot of Doom 1 style projects.
Right.
And a question he has that he wanted you to answer specifically is Doom has a lot of abstract design. A lot of the levels are made really immersive, and they look like real places.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, they also look abstract and kind of weird. And that's something that he's been trying to tackle in his own mapping, because he's I've seen some of his designs, and they're really interesting, but sometimes they don't always look like real places. Usually you'll tell one room looks like a very specific thing, and something looks like just whatever he felt like making.
Right.
And he wanted to know if that was hard for you to design levels that felt like that in Doom.
My thing was more about realistic places and realistic landmarks. Not realistic, but recognizable and stuff like that. And sort of I don't know if it's in 2-2 or something, there's a crate maze, and there's machines going up and down, so you can recognize things by the sound that you're walking by, as well as the visuals.
Oh, okay.
I think some of the sort of abstracted, tall, computery windows and stuff like that, that's a lot more Romero's design. That's his brilliance, that he sort of made reality big.
Oh, okay.
Kind of stretched it upward into sort of abstraction in a way. So mine were more tending towards realism and stuff like that. So it's sort of the combination of the two made the variety and interest, I think.
Oh, okay.
But I think the actual functional big style Doom is mainly Romero's.
Oh, okay.
Now, Tom, did you have anything to do with monster placements or item placements or anything like that, or was that a combination? Or
in the 7 levels in Doom and the 1 level in Doom 2, which kind of surprised me. I had placed the stuff.
That's my favorite level, by the way. I should probably mention that. Refueling base. That level's awesome.
Cool, thanks. That was surprising, because I just got Doom 2 like everybody else, and I was like, no, level 10. What?
Nice.
These diamond lights look familiar. Anyway, but I remember. So I placed a lot of things, and and was timing stuff. Okay, you need help back here, but I was pretty much there through shareware. So some things weren't implemented, when we parted ways and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Multiplayer.
Okay. I was just wondering if that's cool though that you pretty much took your levels and designed every aspect of them, for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that was done after was they did more textures. The textures got added more, and Sandy added there's one level is just my level, and then there's a wall at the end and a big Bruiser Brother dude. Anyway, but and some of them were just they were just architecture and not textured when I left, and so those were.
Oh, okay. I actually saw in the Doom Bible there was a lot of I read some parts that they gave me the idea that there's in Doom there was supposed to be a lot more puzzle solving and RPG style elements, you're interacting with people and finding specific items per levels and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't so much interacting with people. It was mainly that was all from the one world design that just kind of we reversed on, because I argued that doing one world completely, because, I mean, coming from Wolfenstein, that's not the innovation that people would want. It was just, the new technology, and it was fun to get through levels quickly.
Yeah.
Like have a bit of closure and stuff. But yeah, so I don't even remember what I was saying now.
Well, were there any
the interactive. So yeah, that was mainly from the one. But when we moved towards one big world, I designed the bases out, and the idea was that you go through this initial base on Titanga, go through the demons that are coming in, to the normal world. So that, things would look weird, like, you'd be in, the locker room or something, and all of a sudden a demon, would come around the corner. So it's like scary because there's horrible things in the real world.
Yeah,
and
right.
Then the idea was you'd go into the gate at the end of the episode, go through a slice of hell, and see everything distorted and crazy and horrible. And then the third episode, you'd come back to the real world through another sort of anomaly gate, but that was on the other pole of that planet. It was just like, some weird scientific reason that it was attracted to the gravitational poles of the planets and stuff. And so you'd come through that thing, and you'd see that the base on the other pole of Titanga was reality, but distorted like the demon architecture. So everything would be horribly perverted and stuff like that. And it, in a way, slightly, that's what happened in Doom 2. Was the demons kind of came and inhabited the world. So,
did you imagine that differently than how like the textures that Adrian Carmack made for it, or were they pretty much accurate?
In Doom 2?
Well, Doom 1 and 2, because Adrian Carmack did a lot of the art for Doom and stuff. I'm like,
he was the dude. So
well, I'm just asking, did you imagine it differently than how he portrayed it?
I was a big I was sitting there originally going for sort of more of the realism, because some of the textures he was pumping out were just like, wow, that looks actually like metal. That's amazing. So I was using more of the realistic textures, and then some of them that turned out that were more kind of drawing-y, I was kind of steering away from. And then Romero kind of embraced those a bit. But I was, since we had the sort of super dark levels and cool lighting and stuff like that, I was the more kind of creepily shiny and realistic, or glowy in the dark kind of stuff. And rock and stuff like that he did. I really loved those textures he was doing. That was just brilliant.
Yeah, they all work very well in the end product.
Yeah, so I mean, but and then into Doom 2, I think I would have had more sort of perversion of Earth happening, but it was cool. I really liked it.
Did you really get to work on Doom 2, or was that... You only worked at Doom 1, right?
Yeah, I was completely surprised that one of my levels is Doom 2. I was just like, what?
Yeah, I guess that was filler. A lot of people wonder if most of Doom 2 was just filler and that they were just trying to make a deadline, but surprisingly, Doom 2 is actually my favorite of the set.
Yeah, I mean...
yes.
Just because the levels are so unique, and there's a lot of variety in the levels.
Yeah, I mean, they're brilliant. I mean, they're really fun to play, and incorporated more sort of interesting techniques, like, sort of jumping from building to building. Not really jumping, but...
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I like run falling, but...
yeah.
But, I mean, they're cool. And adding the upgrade to the shotgun just made for the perfect balance of the multiplayer.
Oh, yes.
That gets talked about a lot. I was actually interviewing a guy, his name is Ralph, and he makes a lot of deathmatch levels, and he's like a deathmatch enthusiast. Yeah. And he said to me that the Super Shotgun really makes multiplayer for Doom.
Yeah, I mean that it's sort of like that one balancing thing, like I don't know, like Chun-Li's Fireball or something like that. Just like had that one thing, and it's a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you interview most Doomers, they'll tell you that their weapon of choice is always the super shotgun.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, back to Doom 1, though. Well, it said in the Bible that one of the things that I thought was interesting is that you originally had the idea for 6 episodes, I think, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we were, planning for,
Right.
like, sort of like Wolfenstein, we'll have a whole bunch of them. But, I mean, it was mainly the first 3 thinking about,
Yeah.
initially.
One of the things I thought was surprising was that the 3rd episode was titled Knee Deep in the Dead, and that eventually ended up being the 1st episode.
Yeah.
This is a question I had on Doom Mode a long time ago, and nobody really was able to answer it because I did all kinds of Google searching. But does Knee Deep in the Dead have any kind of like literary origin? Because like me and Tanner have listened to like metal bands, and some of the songs, like Chainsaw to the Face has a song called Knee Deep Knee Deep in the Dead, and
Is that a folk band?
no, we saw them live not too long ago. They're just a grindcore band.
I know. You're like, just come out with like, ukulele. We're Chainsaw to the Face.
All mellow, with suspenders.
Yeah. and anyway, yeah. No, that just basically it was just a title that came to me based on the story I was doing. Is basically originally the 3rd episode, you come back to Earth and it's overrun by demons, and so you're just like walking and you're knee deep in the dead of Earth, essentially.
Oh, so that's just how. Okay, because I spent hours looking for like books that may have said Knee Deep in the Dead, and that's probably where you got it from, and I had no luck. And
I believe it just came out of my brain. I actually could, sometimes I come up with, things just come to me, or else I'll make up a list of like, 100, or like that's how we came up with Fuzzy Pumper Pallet Shop. Or that.
You just cross out all the ones you don't like.
Yeah, basically, I just like, it's your tool, Carmack, so I just came up with like 40 names, and he liked that one, he thought that was funny, so we just used that.
Oh, wow. Because I guess our next interview has to be with the guys from Chainsaw in the Face, because I have to know if these guys came up with their album titles or their song titles from Doom. And I can't find out, like, I've looked at the song lyrics, and it doesn't appear to have any relevance to Doom, but it's called Knee Deep in the Dead.
Well, I do believe Dave Sanford, the lead singer, actually is a retro video gamer. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he is into retro video games, so I'm willing to bet it is from Doom.
Oh, okay. But I've heard other bands that do it too, because I think Hexen has a song called Knee Deep in the Dead. And there's a hardcore band that I listen to called The Swarm, a.k.a. Knee Deep in the Dead.
Well, it's glad the turn of phrase just got embraced like that. It's cool.
Yeah, so I guess you're really influential to the
grindcore scene.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to listen to more grindcore.
My mom will be so proud. Yeah, so did we finish with the public elements? I don't know. Did we get back to that? Basically, yeah, those were mainly from the original thing, but I did want to have, like, we'd made the first-person shooter, like, this is our 5th one or something like that, so, I was kind of jonesing as a designer for, like, maybe some environment dangers, if you'll notice, I don't remember the level. It could be 2-2, I'm not sure. But you go into sort of a back area, and there's a track on the floor with sort of glowing blue circles.
Yeah.
On white, sort of like a track of those. That was supposed to be, I put that there for there to be like, like a big sort of like electricity ball firing down that corridor.
Oh, yeah. There's actually, that's E2M2.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the only time that texture is used where it damages you when you step on it.
Yeah. It was supposed to originally be like an electricity fireball flies past you.
Oh, okay.
So you have to like time it and run past it, and then you get the goodie at the end of the hallway and stuff.
Oh, it actually came up because when you step on it, it just hurts you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shame.
That's sort of the way things ended up. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw when like looking at the old like Alpha Doom resources. There's other stuff like there's like lasers that shoot down from the ceiling. There's like these like not lasers, but like these electric bolts that come out from these like guns in the ceiling. I guess they're supposed to barricade something. Various other stuff too, like piles of debris and.
Yeah, I mean it was just the stuff that kind of got optimized out, and they had a little bit in what Quake 2 or something was a little bit like that, but.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but interesting.
All right. I guess the one more question I had. Well, at the end of Doom 1, after you defeat the Spider Mastermind that masterminded the whole invasion. Well, when I first played Doom, I was like 4 years old at the time, and that's probably why Doom is so influential to me. But,
I guess so. Yeah, you were just being done Doom.
Yeah, and
yeah.
well, I played through the whole game with the IDDQD God Mode cheat.
Oh, nice.
And
scumbag.
Well, for a while I was only playing the shareware version, but my brother got the registered version. I played through the whole thing, and looking back on it, I'm actually really surprised I got through most of those puzzles at that age. But when you get to the end, you fight the Spider Mastermind, and you defeat it, and it tells you that hell you're too tough for hell and all that stuff, and then it shows you an ending cutscene, and there's like these bunnies frolicking in a field, and there's a sunset, and everything's beautiful, and there's like cute music playing, and then the camera pans over to the left, and as it's doing that, the music's getting like kind of distorted and weird, and it pans all the way over to the left, and there's a burning city in the background, and in the foreground, there's this spear sticking up with a rabbit's head decapitated on the spike, and that was really terrifying for me as a as a 4-year-old. That was my first time experiencing a bad ending.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, are you responsible for that ending? Did you come up with that?
That is not my specific bad ending. The music, I think, is Peter Cottontail, and then it's distorted into rock music and stuff. But it's sort of it's a descendant of the idea that you come back out of a hellish place and Earth is overrun and distorted by the demon. So it's sort of like a single picture version of the concept, I guess.
I guess it's supposed to indicate that there's going to be a sequel, or
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Even back in Keen, basically we ended an episode and just oh no, the Earth is going to be destroyed, and it's time. So that has antecedent in it for sure. Of just oh no, and then join us next time.
Okay, so that wasn't your idea. Do you know whose idea for that was, or I guess you wanted to end it on that note.
Yeah.
But, did you have a different idea for an ending, or?
No, that's basically the summary of the vibe of the ending. I would just, if I had done it, it'd be sort of a gate, and you'd think you'd won, and then you just see this horrible demonic towers in the midst of Earth City or Earth base kind of thing. So
okay.
It's simple.
Now, Tom, let me ask you a question. I'm sure you have, but I assume you've seen the YouTube episode Masters of Doom.
No. I read Masters of Doom, but I didn't see the YouTube Masters.
It's very funny.
I don't know if that's the. I did see a.
No,
video.
it's a Flash video. It's like an animation, and
Is that the Zap one?
Yeah, that's it.
Zap.
Okay, no, I did see that. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Actually, our intro for this show is based on that. We came up with this, in the beginning where it's that metal solo and it's the Masters of Doom, the animated series. We did that for Extermination Radio.
That's awesome. And then, stab.
You heard it from him himself.
Yes.
I had another question for you, Tom, relating to Rot. You know, you were the game designer for Rise of the Triad, correct?
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Where did you get some of your ideas for that?
Well, basically, the initial thing of the game was it's going to be Wolfenstein 2. And then, I don't know if it was the art or the way the thing's animated or they're too busy or whatever, but wind up just, like, parting ways on that and just like, okay, now, well, we have this 3D engine that is sort of Wolfenstein-y, and how can we, you know, be a differentiator? So we, you know, made the thing tall and sort of made it a Quake engine without Quake technology. And then I thought, like, well, you know, we have all this, you know, data we've already done with all these things, and so I just made up a crazy story to make sense of it, and just said, you know what, let's just have fun with it, and just make it nuts, and make it, like, really awesome in multiplayer, and then that'll be fun, so.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And have you seen the videos for the new Rise of the Triad in development?
Yeah, I mean, it looks, you know, cool. It's bizarre that, you know, it's just like I saw the title come up in the thick of it, and it's like, oh wow, they really like translated it. So it's pretty cool in that sense, and I like that there's GADs and all the original crazy things in there. And
yeah, definitely. I felt it was very true to the original.
Yeah, that's cool. And then that was sort of what was in my mind for Rise of the Triad was, you know, sort of like, you always have, like, grander dreams than the technology you're able to use until now, you know, when movies are so awesome. So, yeah.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
That's cool. Well, I don't have any more questions.
All right.
Well, I think I'm pretty tapped out, too. I just want to say thank you very much, Tom, for being on the show. It was a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting, heady time, you know, starting up it and working with such brilliant people, and they, you know, they continue to be brilliant, and it was just, you know, a really cool experience working on that. It was kind of weird in the sense that when we were working on Wolfenstein, we were just kind of like testing it and looking around, going like, no one's made a game like this before. We were kind of like going, is that okay? You know? so it was kind of just weird to be in that place, you know, just as it's happening, but well, it turned out.
Well, I actually wonder that a lot in my own level design, because I try to do things that, because the Doom world is like, the output of levels is amazing. Like you could check that website like once every 2 days, and something new will come out, and it'll just be like a new like 7-level episode, and it's surprising how much it's thriving. And I try to like deviate away from the patterns, and I know I have a few connections with other people that are also trying to do the same thing, and that's, you know, just id Software is such an awesome success story, and I always wanted to I always imagined being like part of a company that did something like that. Like, wow, this is something totally new that nobody's ever done before.
Yeah,
we should really, you know, show this off.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, you know, there's you know, places right now like mobile. There's still room for innovation. Sort of ARG, you know, like type of games where, you know, stuff happens in the real world that you can see, and you know, like Google Glass and wearable technologies going on. So there's places to innovate still.
Yeah. I have. I've considered. I've gotten ideas from, you know, just how simple it is to make levels for Doom. I thought I considered making, like, it would be cool to make a video game that was similar, at least similar somewhat to Doom. But, you know, you could use the tablets and, you know, draw levels, just draw shapes, and that would automatically become rooms.
Yeah.
And, you know, something simple like that. And I saw that on your interview with Matt Chat when you were talking about Worlds of Wonder.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's a platform game in the vein of like Commander Keen.
Right.
And I really like that. I love the idea of people being able, like, to just share their creative ideas so quickly and easily. and just having the tools accessible to them to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the opportunity to do that for any number of games, like Little Big Planet, did that on the console side. So, my thought was like, let's make this ubiquitous. There shouldn't matter what technology is next to you. You should be able to use it to make fun and play fun. So.
Yeah, definitely.
But we'll see that come to fruition, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, you are working on it though, right? Like not actively, but
actively right now. But yeah, I really want to see that happen.
Yeah, I really hope it takes off too, because I've always, because I'm so dissuaded by video games being so like cinematic and feeling like an interactive movie, and I feel like you understand, like just seeing like your background in video games that you've worked on, I feel like you understand better than anybody else that there was a better time when games were just games, like it didn't matter that you were jumping 15 feet in the air or running 35 miles per hour. Everything's so realistic now, and it's like it doesn't matter because it's a game,
Yeah, exactly. It's like fun first, and I mean there's other media that tell long stories better.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny how you guys back in the day, you guys were aiming for realism, and you guys were saying, "Oh, this is so realistic." And nowadays, it's just like people have so much more, and they're just like, "Oh, that's so unrealistic." It's just ironic,
Well, it gets in the uncanny valley where it's too close to realism. So then you see like, well, their hands don't animate right, and blah blah blah. But
I hate that.
Yeah, I mean, back then, all I wanted to do with Doom was, sort of like Aliens. Like Cameron shows you like all the people's transponders are in one area, so you're going through the movie with a sense of dread going to the end, and I sort of wanted to bookend the Doom like that, is like you have the sense of dread because like that character, like in the One World design, the character Buddy was telling you, ahead of time, like, oh, there's something up, and like so you have the sense of constant dread going towards the final thing, and then. He get shredded at the end, so you knew that the end boss was horribly dangerous because you just seen your friend shredded in half. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that was that.
Yeah. Well, I guess. I'm a little disappointed that you weren't responsible for that, the ending of Doom 1, because I was actually going to ask you for an apology. Because I was horrified when I was 4 years. I'm pretty sure I ran away from the computer crying when I saw that buddy decapitated.
I had exactly the same experience when I was 4, but I watched the original movie, The Fly. And I had never seen anything weird in my whole life. And it's just like, oh, there's a scientist, oh, it's a cool science fiction movie. And then the lady pulls out the thing off his head. He's got a fly for a head. I buried my head, for like an hour until a different show was on. It was like, is it good, man?
That's funny. That was terrifying for me, though, and I'm not sure why, because Tanner and I, we both watch like slasher movies and stuff, and we can watch any number of people being like ripped to shreds or beaten or brutally tortured until they're screaming and begging for mercy, and it will have no effect on me. Yeah. And I guess it's because it was a rabbit, because I think I had a pet rabbit at that age.
Oh my god!
I think it's just like that animal abuse is like really, I can watch those movies and they'll have like Passion of the Christ didn't even make me shed a tear, and like, but I could watch like a 15-second YouTube video of a dog that accidentally steps on like a thumbtack or something and stubs its paw, and I'm like, oh, what happened to? Oh, why would you do that to the dog?
One of the programmers on the original Rise of the Triad, William Scarborough, who has passed away since, he was just like that. He was this total like dude, and he worked out, and he was the guy that loved anime movies, and like that's why we got Drunk Missiles in there and stuff. But yeah, he was just like that. It's just like, you don't watch anything, but man, like you watch a movie, like a pet movie, the dog's gonna die or something, and I just like blow like a little baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're helpless. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, anyways, there you go.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure Doomworld's going to be really mad at me because I'm sure there were tons of story-related questions that I didn't think to ask you. But we'd love to have you on the show another time if you're interested.
Yeah, sounds cool.
If not, whatever. But just keep in touch. It would be awesome.
Maybe I'll actually have dug up my notes by that time and answer from less than faulty memory.
That would be great, actually.
Cool.
All right, cool. Thank you very much, Tom. It was awesome to have you on this show. We're really excited.
Thanks.
It's a huge milestone in terms of Doom Radio.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome to talk to you all, and thanks for the chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
All right, once again, Tom Hall, and I'm John 40 Ounce Vail, and this is Tanner West.
Splatterhouse.
Splatterhouse.
Doom World.
World Extermination Radio! Extermination Radio!
And he does it better than us.
Our Doom levels are continuing to be made.
Oh, yes. You should do the intro for our show, Tom.
Cool.
We're a game that's 20 years old, still gets played by teenagers.
It was made when they were fetuses. Now.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, thanks, Tom. Yeah.
Bye.